What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Today is Remembrance Day, November 11th, and today we are got a little something special. You guys know what this means, right? And no, haven't sold it yet, but I've had, well, you guys know how selling things on Marketplace goes. 100 messages, everybody says they're going to show up. Supposed to be a kid last night, come and pick her up at 7 o'clock. Of course, why would he show up? But I don't mind too much. I've had a blast riding this thing. I've used it almost every day. I've used my wood sled, been hauling wood around. As my house is wood heated, as you guys can tell. There's my daughter riding in the backyard there. But yes, back to it. Today, trailer's on. Another budget quad coming your way. Polaris Trailboss 1989, two-stroke action. So yes, this is another budget 80s quad. So this one seems, by the pictures, seems to be in great shape. We'll see once we actually get out there. It should be interesting. I'm picking it up after the Remembrance Day parade today because you guys know I'm military. I'm gonna go pay my respects, and then hopefully this afternoon we'll take a quick walk around of the bike and show you guys what we got. So thanks for tuning in. Keep watching, because this should get interesting as always. Cheers. We'll see you guys this afternoon. What's up, guys? We're back. I made it home now. We just got back from picking up the bike and going to the Remembrance Day parade. And well, without further ado, let's take a look. This is her. Not 2000, my bad. 1989, apparently. Polaris Trailboss 252 stroke. First impressions, thing looks in really good shape. The guy I got it off of seemed like a really good dude. Gave me a great deal on it. Notified me of a few issues he knew about. I'm sure there's a handful more that weren't mentioned. But for $250, I think absolute great deal. Look at this. Almost brand new. So, immediately, maybe you can notice that's not water. That is fuel. She is leaking. Another thing immediately off the hop I noticed. The heat shield and the expansion. The expansion chamber there. Normally, instead of, well, I don't know kind of wire that is. Those two little springs would be there, to keep it together. It's normal two-stroke, but I think I got a couple kicking around. It's not a big deal. They're very cheap. Battery is not working. And I don't think it will, just based on the fact that it's just completely swollen out. That thing is shot. It is garbage. Chain looks to be in decent shape. Not a lot of rust. All the shocks are in good shape. Tires all pretty much hold air. I think one's got a small leak, but it's not bad. Nothing's loose. All the front end seems very solid. Lights work. Very excited to get this thing unloaded and take a closer look. We'll pull her in the shop and start tearing into it. So very exciting news, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and unload this thing, and we'll meet back up in the shop in a little bit. What's up, guys? Got the bike in the garage. It's the next day now. Didn't have time to film much yesterday, but I do have a lot of good news with you on this new bike. Don't mind my hair. I'm a little wet. We was out chopping wood all day, and it's currently pitch black outside, and it's only 4 o'clock here, so not a lot of time to work outside, so I have to get a lot done during the day. But enough about that weird stuff. Let's get to the fun stuff. Bing bong. Look at this unit. Alright, so I don't know, let's take a closer look. Me and you are going to do this together. I haven't really sat down to actually take too much of a detailed look at this, but I will say it does run and drive. starts up, and yeah, let's start addressing the issues here. So, like I said, I paid $250 from the previous owner for it. It's a 1990 250 Trailboss 2-stroke. Because if you're not mixing gas, you're not hauling ass. All right. Start at the back. So it did come with this back rack here. It's not attached right now because he had it apart. Because obviously he was working on the carb and the shutoff valve. So he gave me all the bolts and everything. This is a really nice piece of kit, especially for someone like me who's hauling wood or gas or children. But starting at the rear end here, we got a brand new, and I mean brand new, ITP mud light. That thing is wicked. They're 25s, 10-inch rim, perfect mixture. That's probably a $200 tire alone, and I only paid $250 for this thing. So it is a solid axle, no diff, chain driven, and that's made it up to a CVT automatic transmission. It's the first time I've had one of these, but so far it seems to do the trick. It's not my favorite course of action. I like shifting gears myself, but anyways, everything back here looks nice and solid. It does have the hitch, which is it's so awesome because I can haul stuff around the yard, whether it be with my my hauler or pulling my small trailer around. It's great. There is 2 different tires, I will say that. And before you guys say anything, you might be noticing this. That's a Honda 300 engine. I'll address all that later. And that new rear end. Whoop! But anyways, yeah, 2 different tires, which means, I mean, this was maintained on a budget, but I don't blame whoever did it. Spending $400 on 2 new rear tires when one is just fine, it's not a big deal here. So it is missing the rear light, little trunk, and yeah, it's my first Polaris too. I don't know who makes Polaris. I should really look that up. I'm not gonna say they're German, but I'm gonna say they're not Japanese. And maybe they're U.S. A few things have led me to that, especially this, I don't know, made in the USA logo. It is a 2x4, not 4x4. She's just rear-wheel drive, which means we can do sick donuts. But pull start right now. The electric start's not working, obviously, because in the last clip, you should have seen the battery is absolutely just cooked. But besides that, I've done a bit of research and noticed a few things. So the seller claimed it was leaking gas. This right here, this is just water because I was riding it outside today. But there is no gas leaking. I'm not sure what happened, but I drove it once yesterday, and miraculously everything stopped leaking gas. And I'd almost wish it was still leaking gas because then I'd have something to fix for you guys. And I'm probably still going to end up tearing it apart because the last thing I want to do is touch anything and have it start pissing fuel everywhere. But for now, it seems to be holding up just fine. So the immediate things, let me get up here. Let's take a look at the front end. It's all pretty solid. I'm going to give the plastics a 6 out of 10. I only give it a 6. It would have been probably a 7, but the exhaust has nuked this corner once, and I think that's because this isn't bolted down properly anymore, and it's just hit the exhaust. Besides that, man, it's all in pretty good shape. Like this, jeez, guys, like this will, wow. So compared to the last video, you can get a good amount of quad for $200 if you find the right deal. So this is oil injection. So you're not mixing gas. When I say it's mixing gas, you're not. So gas goes in up here. Oil goes in here. It makes some magic. Puts it in the car. Bing, bang, boom. Noise. It has a McPherson front strut assembly. Front end's very solid. Barely any play in anything. These struts are really nice. Nothing seems overly worn out. But if you will notice, which I didn't notice when I purchased this, it doesn't have any brake calipers. This seems to be a theme when you buy something for $200 here. Especially quads. Front brakes, just count them out. They're not going to be there. Headlight was working, miraculously stopped working today. Not sure what happened. I'll probably just end up replacing it with a cheap LED off Amazon anyway. But if we come up to the cockpit here, brakes, that's gone. I haven't figured out what this is yet either. Headlight was working, not anymore. The on-off kill switch here doesn't work. No idea if the start button works because there's no good battery in it like we talked about. On-off does work. Neutral light, don't think it works. Reverse light, don't think it works. Choke seems to work. At least it helped with starting it up. And you guys tell me if you've seen anything like this before. I don't know if I can zoom this in to a point where you can read it. It says, this vehicle is equipped with a Polaris electric throttle control, ETC, to reduce the risk of stuck or frozen, throttle. Please refer to your owner's manual for details. Super weird on something from the 80s, but let's address this too. Man, is it ugly. This seat cover looks like something, like someone took one of those, like, you know those, like, pop-up garage tents? It's that kind of material. It's like a tarp, almost. Not bad back here, but you got up to here, and it's gross. But was looking on eBay today. I can get a beautiful canvas and leather seat cover for about $50. So I think this quad has earned the fact that I can put a little bit of money into it because it's not a complete piece of garbage. Here is the CVT. Your cars may have it. Very well known in like mopeds and snowmobiles. Snowmobiles basically, I'd say basically, they all run a CVT transmission. It's just a belt and a clutch, and with the centrifugal force as it spins up, it basically changes the gear ratio. Like my hand motion there, that's basically what it does. At idle, it does sound like this is making quite a bit of noise. It sounds like the belt's slapping, but from a few people I talked to on the Polaris Trailboss forum here, the engine mounts actually do wear out, and when they wear out, the clutch actually hits on this cover. So this is going to come apart for sure to see what's going on, and I'll likely spend the $10 on a new belt and probably some engine mounts. I like the fact it has nice solid foot stands here. There's no pegs, so if you're mucking about in trails and whatnot, you're not worried about your foot falling off and your foot getting sucked up in the rear tires. Besides that, I don't know what else to address here, to be honest with you. Oh yeah, okay, we'll come back to this here. So this is the rear brake. I will say I have had a quick look at this already. The old owner said likely just needs adjusting, but here, let me see if I can turn my light on for you guys. No, doesn't seem like it. I don't know if you guys can see there. There's like a disc. It's almost like a brake rotor. And it actuates off this. So, as you can see, there still is a brake fitting going to it. There's a hose. And I have followed this all the way back. It does tee up to the master cylinder over there that's just cooked. And the front two ones that are hooked up to nothing. So I'm not even going to try and put anything in that. But this foot pedal here does seem to be a mechanical brake. Should that fail, which is awesome because it has, you can press on this and it will stop. I believe it stops the transmission, which will then stop the chain. And it does. So when I first bought this, when you stepped on this pedal, it did nothing. But as you can see here, with the owner, the old owner at least, he stated this probably just needs adjustment. And based off this handhold here, it looks like it's meant to be adjusted. There's no way they put this there if it wasn't meant to be. So all I did was loosen off this nut. I'd say it's an 11 millimeter, but I don't think it was. I believe it was probably, what's the one below half an inch? 7/16? Yeah, that makes sense. I believe it's a 7/16, which also makes me to believe that this bike is also more American. You know what I mean? It sort of amplifies the made in the USA. So I loosened this nut off. I turned this in, which in turn pulled this whole system out about 1/4 of an inch. And now, I'm not saying this is great brakes, okay guys? But if you step on this now, it will lock the rear wheels up. So in case of emergency, this does work. So, I mean, I did, like I said, I did ride it today down to the gas station, actually, just to fill up some jerry cans over there. But it ran awesome. It did awesome. Brakes worked. They're not great. That does need to be fixed as soon as possible. But as of now, for $250, I bought a running, driving, and get it, braking quad. The shifter's up here. I don't think I have shown you guys this yet. Let me take a look if you guys can get in there. You got a low, neutral, reverse, and high. Everything works as it should. I think I addressed this in the last video too. This the expansion chamber here. I got some high heat paint today, just some matte black stuff, because this does look rather ugly. And when I end up doing the engine mounts on this, which I have to, because I mean I'll start it up and show you guys in a second. The engine does have quite a bit of play to it. But I'm gonna order new springs for these tonight. I'm not sure how this originally mounted, but this isn't bad. I might just use those again. But that and some calipers and a master cylinder, maybe altogether $150-ish. Not bad. Have about $400 into this thing, and oh, I forgot about the seat cover. So maybe a bit more than that, but still under $500. Real cool quad. Real cool quad. I really I'm looking forward to riding this. It's pretty big, guys. I don't know if you can tell from here, but this is a very big quad, and it drives great. It does sweet donuts, 2-wheel drive, and I'm really looking forward to working on it. So I'm going to pause this here, see if I can put my tripod up and start this thing up for you guys, and then maybe we'll take a quick look at address the whole Honda 300 situation, and we'll go from there. Let's do it. Would also like to thank my buddy Eric. He did send me this wicked new tripod with the flexi feet, and it does an awesome job of wrapping onto anything. So, ignition on. I'm going to put the choke on because she is cold, and it's a 2-stroke. If you guys don't know, 2-strokes, they can be super finicky sometimes. Like my old gal over there, sometimes she starts first cook, sometimes it takes 10 kicks. So this one's no different, but it seems super healthy. The old owner did state he did a compression test and it came back at 125, which is more than enough for her to run, and I believe him. The thing runs good. So I'm going to put her in neutral, key on. I'm going to give her a couple pumps on the carb, and let's see if we can make some magic here. bad when she's cold. I don't even know if you guys can hear me. But look at the engine move if you can hear me. She gonna idle for us, guys? Maybe. Come on, girl. Like I said, the headlight appears to have left the chat. Which sucks. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it really sounds like something's hitting it. But as you can see, she's a pretty healthy motor. I don't want to run her too long in here because I'm going to get smoked out, but so what do you guys think? That's pretty darn good for a $250 quad. Completely honest. Very excited about this thing. And I hope you guys like it too, because you're going to see a couple more videos on it as parts arrive. But in the midterm, I'm probably just going to be bumming around on it. I'm going to try to get this back rack reattached. Because it does seem very useful. But on that note, that's going to end the content on the new quad for today. I'm going to address probably a couple more things real quick, and then that'll be it. But this. If you guys remember from my first video, this thing has it's been sitting here for a while. This is the 2000 Honda 4Trax 4x4. I'd say I love this bike, but truly I've only driven it once, and it was in front wheel drive. But it is, if you're just joining us, this is a super healthy quad. You really can't beat it. Electric start works good. It's got the light bars, the pods, and she starts almost first hit. Like, I haven't started this in probably 4 days now, 5 days, but look at that. No choke, no like. Man, what a beast. Super excited to get this one going. Typical Honda. Just always works. But let's get back to the new parts. This. Boom. Rear end. So, as you guys know, I've been searching for a rear end for this thing since, I don't know, months now. But what I did find was there was a young fella local to here who had a 300 4Trax, and he, I mean, pardon my language, he beat the shit out of it and broke the frame and left it out in the field. I ended up getting in touch with him just on pure luck, and he sold it to me for $50. It was a parts quad. I should have videoed it, but I just got rid of yesterday, took it to the scrap. I stripped as much usable stuff off it as possible, but overall for $50, even if this rear end doesn't work, and I'll get into why it might not, the rest of the parts are worth it. So let's get a 350D rear end. As you guys can tell, this is not going to match up with mine, because normally on a 300 there would be a drum here, and then you straight axled out. Very similar to the Polaris. But a very common modification for these, as the 300 axles are very weak, is to convert it to a 300D. So this does seem solid. The actual diff itself, rear brakes, you can make your own input on how those work, but I'm going to take that those are just not going to work. So normally this 300D has 2 shock mounts, but you can do a modification to it, and this is a 300 rear carrier swing arm, whatever you want to call it. The carrier actually sits here, my bad. And what you can do is you can weld it on, because this bolts up, it all mounts the same, and then this was very crudely, and I say very crudely welded on there. But it's solid. It's ugly, but it's solid. And sorry, pardon. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I put my drive shaft in there. Everything rotates as it should. The only thing I'm skeptical about is these, because this is where it pivots, and it doesn't. I say doesn't, but in my memory, it doesn't look the same as mine. So, if this doesn't work, what I can do is, I can still use this axle and this diff. I would just have to remove this, cut this all off, grind it flat, and then do the mod properly. I say properly, but I'll do it myself with my welder, my grinder, and make it pretty. But it should work, which I'm very excited about. And you may be asking, well, why haven't you done it yet? Well, I'm still waiting on the brake master cylinders to come in for the front before I put it back together. I do have, they should be here. I say should. They might still be in the house. But I do have all the new pads and shoes for the front. I'm just waiting on the pistons, and they're in Canada now, but you know, because I live in the middle of nowhere, oftentimes it takes an extremely long time for things to get here, and that's what I fight. So they should be in this week, hopefully, and then I'll get the front end back together, which obviously you guys will come along for that ride with me, and then we can pull this too. Hopefully this works. As you can see, I also got a whole engine out of this. I am not sure of the condition. I know it has good compression, but it's all here. And I'm super stoked because, like, even the starter motor, it's got the transfer case here. That alone is probably $400 used. Just awesome. And let me show you this, guys. Whole bucket of parts. Hubs, I got an exhaust, front diff, which is almost new. All the A-arms, ball joints, throttle cables, throttle, everything. Fancy painted throttle, airbox. I don't know what else we got in here, guys. It's like those, like, I don't know if you guys were kids and you'd go out and eat, and then afterwards they'd bring over a treasure box of toys. This is my treasure box of toys now. But yeah, it's all in there. You got a spare muffler. It's wicked. And on top of that, is if you've been following, you'll notice that, where's my original one? Right here. This is my original CV shaft, the one that I said was worn out. It did come with 2. They are not as worn out. So take a look at mine. Big groove worn in here. This is big groove and worn out. These are, they still have the original, let's see if I can focus enough, manufacturer CNC marks. So these aren't worn out, but the boots are broken. But I can work with that, so that's cheap. I have spares now, and all for $50. Like, I don't know how you can beat that. And so that's going to wrap that up. What a find. Very excited about that. And the 200 ES, the first budget quad we had, tentatively sold. I'm driving into town tomorrow, about 30 minutes away from me, to meet someone. Dropping it off, $500. So we'll sit down, we'll calculate it out for sure in the next video, but it's going to be around $200, $230 profit if I had to guess. And that's pretty good, which that means this, if I spent my profits on it, was almost free. You can do it, guys. $200 quads. Just got to work on them at home. Anyways, I'm sure this video is long enough now for no content of me actually wrenching on anything and just blabbering on about my toys. But thanks for joining. Like, subscribe, please. It helps me out a lot, and I get a little joy every time I get at least one more subscriber. So I think we're up to 16 now. Anyways, guys, we'll catch you later. Next video, likely going wrenching on this old gal. If not, then maybe it's gonna be the 300, but it's likely the Polaris. So join me next time. Hopefully this week I'll upload another video, and we'll get this thing torn apart. Maybe we'll reupholster the seat. Cheers, guys. So, whoops, a little shaky here. Wife's out trying out the new quad here before we tear her apart. Yes, she does run. She leaks some gas. Good start. It's a promising start for a $250 quad.